Hey, welcome back. Were you in the mood for a dysfunctional family story? Don't worry, I got you covered. This story comes from username Lilac Swans and is titled, Am I the a-hole for quietly packing my stuff and leaving my family's house without telling anyone after my dad threatened to kick me out? I, 23F, live at home. I am in school and work part-time plus intern at an office. I graduate in June and I've been applying to jobs as much as I can so I can finally move out. My sister, 20F, also lives at home but is doing school online and doesn't work. I try to help with chores around the house as much as possible, although it's difficult since I leave the house early in the morning and come home late at night. Last week, I came home and there were clean dishes in the dishwasher. I said I'm gonna take a quick shower, then empty the dishwasher, and my dad went on a rant about how I never help around the house and that my sister is always the one doing everything. I explained that I do help and that just because they haven't seen me help doesn't mean that I don't. He asked me to give him an example and I told him that I took the garbage out the night before. The conversation escalated to him saying that I should not argue any longer because he can easily make me homeless if he wanted to. I said okay and went upstairs. The next morning, while everyone was still asleep, I packed my things and left, and I've been sleeping in my car for a week later in the day. After I left, my parents called and my mom texted me asking where I am when I didn't come home when I was supposed to. I didn't reply and blocked my entire family's numbers and social medias and haven't spoken to them since. They have been calling and texting my friends asking them where I am. I haven't told any of my friends that I'm sleeping in my car, so I got very confused texts from my friends asking me what's going on and why my parents are asking where I am and if I'm safe and okay. I told my closest friend that I left home and that I'm safe and let her know to tell my parents that I'm fine, but I have no desire to speak to them anymore. They've been begging my friend to disclose my location and asking her to ask me to allow them to speak to me. I went to my friends yesterday and she told me that what I did was awful and that I should speak to them. I told her that they threatened to make me homeless, so I left by my own volition, but she's insisting that making them worry about my safety is a horrible thing to do, but I honestly think I just gave them what they asked for. They wanted to get rid of me, so I left. Am I the a-hole for leaving and refusing to communicate with them? I can make you homeless if I want to. Yeah, I could too, so what about it? All jokes aside, I really hate parents like this. You got proven wrong, so your response is to threaten them in a really harsh way. These are the types of parents that wonder why their adult children don't speak to them. So, my verdict is NTA. And now some comments from the community. NTA, sounds like you are majorly stressed out and having someone scream at you in a place that is supposed to be a calm, safe environment is just not helpful at all. I'm guessing your mom doesn't know what happened. I would at least tell her. No, she was there when this happened and she was on my dad's side. He was the only one mainly throwing the insults, but she chimed in a few times as well and had a lot to say. Info, I get your dad, but why are you going NC with your mom and sister? I'm not close with my sister and we pretty much never speak to each other unless we absolutely have to, and my mom was also there while this incident happens. Info, we genuinely do not have enough information to judge here. OP has not provided enough backstory for us to be able to tell whether this is the final chapter in a long history of abuse by their parents, or if this is a histrionic overreaction on their part. This is a post that's guaranteed to drum up a mountain of support for an iffy choice on their part, and I'm concerned that commenters in their rush to support someone who has apparently been treated very poorly by their parents are rushing to defend what could easily be a dangerous and unnecessarily rash decision. I'm concerned that there may be more going on with OP than they have shared or are aware. The spur-of-the-moment decision to move out secretly overnight into an unsuitable living situation in order to punish their parents for a relatively small issue makes me worried that there is an underlying instability that places OP at increased risk. And yes, this was a small issue. Even in OP's telling, the threat sounds more like an annoying bluster than an actual threat to make them homeless. Clearly, OP's father was wrong and is majorly the a-hole. They've done this many times before. When I was 16, I had an argument with my mom because she went through my phone, and then my mom told my dad that she can't live with me in the same house and that it's either her or I in the house. So I ended up getting kicked out, and I stayed with a friend for a week until she came and picked me up and apologized and said they'd never kick me out again. Which wasn't true because it's the one threat that gets made anytime something happens. Remember at the beginning of the story how OP says she's been applying to as many jobs as possible so she can move out as soon as possible? Now this explains why. NTA, but maybe talk to your local PD and let them know that if your parents try to file a missing persons report, it's a waste of time because you are not missing. They threatened to kick you out for not helping, so you left. Sounds like a win-win to me. Can you talk to any of your friends about staying with them while you get things together? She's 23. She is allowed to leave home and go no contact. NTA, as someone who was made homeless by their parents, I went no contact the moment I left and didn't get back in touch with them till my father apologized. Never moved back, even though he thought I would, and made a new life. You don't owe them an explanation when they threaten your life, but also don't make your friend play middleman. Final update, 2 months later. I want to say thank you to everyone who commented and PM'd me with advice after my first post almost 2 months ago. I received a lot of helpful advice that I took into consideration when planning what to do next. A week after my post, I ended up moving in with a friend who was kind enough to let me stay and pay a very small amount in rent in return. I also ended up talking to my parents, and my dad apologized for his behavior and promised to never make a threat like that again, which honestly came as a shock to me. But I'm glad things got resolved between us. I let them know that I'm staying with a friend and paying a small amount in rent in the meantime, and that I am in the process of finding an apartment, and they suggested that I move back in with them for free until I find a job in a place. So I took their offer and moved back home and haven't had issues with them since moving back. I finished grad school and completed my internship, and 2 weeks ago, I landed a full-time job in my field. I also found an apartment that's only a 5-minute walk from my job. I start the job next week and I move into my new place 2 weeks from now. I'm always so happy to hear a good ending. I wish you all the happiness in the world, OP. As a long-time lurker, I'm used to seeing these toxic family posts where the OP is forced to go low contact or no contact and the a-hole party refuses to apologize and doubles down. So it's nice to see a healthy resolution to a domestic conflict where the a-hole admits their fault and relationships can begin to mend. Not every conflict will end as amicably. Plus, it's great to hear of the success OP's had in her career and living arrangements. I read your previous post and realized just how often Indian parents say this to their kids without actually meaning any of it. What they don't realize is that it affects the self-esteem of children heavily. It's such a toxic dynamic that has been so normalized that they don't even realize that they're saying something so detrimental to their child's mental health. Eastern Euro parents as well. Yes, our cultures preach resilience, but it is tough when so much of the self-esteem trauma comes from those you are supposed to feel safest with and spend most time with as a youth at least. Yay, congrats, and your dad did the right thing. Taking responsibility and apologizing is an excellent way to move forward. I hope you continue to strengthen your relationship and maintain firm and healthy boundaries. Happy to see things worked out for you, OP. I'm glad your dad apologized and that you're on your own 2 feet. I guess none of the commenters were gonna address the part, or maybe they didn't see the part where she said that they kicked her out for a week when she was 16. They definitely knew what they were saying, because they already followed through with it 7 years prior when she was a teenager. Comment your thoughts on the story down below and I'm gonna get on to the next story. If you were in the mood for more family drama, don't worry, I got you covered. This story comes from username OldManRedditTA and it's titled, "Am I the a-hole for buying my niece a car and not my nephew?" Hey, I'm an old guy who has never posted on Reddit, but at the urging of my niece and nephew, I'm going to attempt to post this here. So I, 50M, have a niece and a nephew who are both 18 and just graduated. A few years ago when they were entering high school, I made a deal with them. If they kept the B average the entire time in high school, I would buy them any car of their choosing, within reason of course. We added a clause that they got 1 semester forgiven, so they were able to mess up 1 semester and I wouldn't hold it against them. I felt like 7 out of 8 semesters with a B average was pretty fair. So my niece maintained her grades. She did mess up her sophomore year, but otherwise was right on track. My nephew, on the other hand, pretty much never did right. We were lucky that he even passed every semester. I offered help, tutors, books, tried to make sure he was okay mentally, whatever he needed, but turns out he just straight up was not doing his work. He was doing good on tests, but would never do his actual work, resulting in his grades being low. So last week, when my niece got her car, she chose a 2025 Toyota Camry. My nephew kept asking when he was going to get his, and I told him he didn't stick to his end of the agreement, so he did not get a car. He still got a very nice gift back at graduation. Now him and his mom are angry with me, saying I'm favoring my niece, and now he is refusing to speak to me or his sister. I don't think I messed up, but I'm starting to worry. Am I the a-hole? My verdict is NTA. I think this is a really good lesson to teach someone starting adulthood. Actions have consequences. Not holding your end of an agreement means you don't get a promised reward for upholding your end of the agreement. It sounds like the mom may have been a factor in his entitlement as well. But comment your verdicts down below and I'm gonna read some comments. NTA. If you had given him a car, he would be learning that he will get what he wants even when he doesn't stick to the deal. OP. On behalf of the rest of society, I would like to thank you for enforcing standards with your nephew, since apparently his parents will not. The problem is not just the nephew, but the nephew's mother. In fact, the mother is a bigger problem, who has encouraged his lazy, entitled behavior. She could have put a lid on it by telling the nephew that he did not earn the car. His lack of effort cost him the car, so if he wants to blame someone, then he needs to look in the mirror and blame that person. If someone had offered to buy cars for each of my twins if they kept their grades up, I would have been grateful to OP for paying for 1 car for the twin who fulfilled their end of the bargain, and I would have told the other twin to sit down, be quiet, and learn to work harder, because the loss of a new car was on them. NTA. They both knew the deal, and your nephew chose to slack off, even after you went out of your way to support him and keep him on track. You even considered his mental health, which is more than a lot of parents, mine included, would have done when the grades started slipping. You stuck to your word, and he learns a valuable lesson. It also would have been incredibly unfair to your niece if all her hard work had been undermined just to reward her brother despite his lack of effort. And the overall judgment was NTA. Update 3 months later. Hi peeps of Reddit, I wanted to give an update because lots have happened. So first, I sat down with my nephew and his mom to talk it through. I explained that this was the deal he agreed to before starting high school, and that he has known for years he was not getting the car. Some comments say I led him on, which was not the case. He has been aware of not getting the car for years, and that his sister followed through. He did not. Well, all of that to no avail. He was still sulking and pretty angry. His mom felt I ruined his summer because he couldn't drive himself around, and because he refuses to speak to his sister. She won't drive him either. I then discovered that my niece was being punished at home because she would not let my nephew drive or ride in her car. I told him I was not forcing her to, and it pretty much turned into a fight between me and sister-in-law. Also, to address a few comments I got, my nephew still got a very nice graduation gift from me and does not have any learning disabilities like comments suggested, and also he had been aware he was not getting a car for around 3 years. As for my niece, she's been nothing but grateful. It was plans for her and her brother to move in with me, but only she has. I have not heard from or seen my sister-in-law or nephew in about a month. They have also both blocked and cut off my niece, which has been hard for her. Me and my wife are working on getting her into therapy, but otherwise, she is doing fine and we love having her. So things are still hard, but we are all working through it. Thanks everyone for the advice. Why were they planning to move in with you? They both planned to move in with me when they graduated, purely because my house is bigger and they wanted a change of environment. What else are you doing for her? It's starting to feel like you can provide them a lifestyle their parents can't, and she's taking advantage, and her brother is jealous and bitter he's not benefiting. I don't blame you for sticking to the agreement with nephew as long as it was clearly laid out from the beginning, and for him to treat you this way after you still got him a nice graduation gift is just spoiled kid behavior. Oh, and shame on your sister for not sticking to any principles or standards. My nephew is still welcome to live here if he apologizes. I was always going to pay for both of their college or wedding, whichever they choose. They've known this their whole life. I am paying for niece's college and still plan to pay for nephew's wedding. My sister-in-law isn't super well off, but by no means is she struggling. She could easily afford a car for him. She's just too cheap to do so. Niece also is not paying to live here. Yep, it's been clear since day one, which is why I don't understand why they are behaving this way. Thank you for setting a standard and following through. Both siblings were given a valuable lesson, though clearly only your niece learned it. And now the mom is being petty and vindictive towards her own daughter. No wonder the nephew thought he could get the car without doing absolutely anything. He didn't do the work to get the car, she did. And now him and his mom are pouting and throwing a fit over it. Their behavior is so disgusting. I would never want to help them again. It really sucks that your niece did the work, is responsible, and appreciated the gift you gave her, and yet she's being ostracized by her selfish, ungrateful mom and brother. I hope you never help your nephew and his mom out ever. The favoritism towards male children is such an issue. I'm glad you're not part of the problem, and I'm glad you're a safe landing for her to get away from her disgusting mom and brother. That comment about the mother being able to easily afford a car for the son, but it seems like she's just pushing the blame on the uncle so that she doesn't have to buy him a car. If she feels this strongly about her son having a car, why not just buy him one? She's so intent on him having something he didn't work for, why doesn't she provide it? She's one of those people that likes to pin somebody else as the scapegoat, and those people suck. But what did you think about this story? Comment down below, and that's going to be all from me today. If you got to this point in the video, thank you for watching. I appreciate you. And if you like this video, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, drop a comment, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care.